Welcome back to BS with Brian Simpson. We took a little week off. You know what I'm saying? We right back in it. Right back in this motherfucker. Yeah, I was at a wedding. I was the best man at my boy's wedding, and then got to see my family for a little bit. I'm gonna be in Dallas this weekend. Come through. There's still tickets available, I believe, for the Friday show or the Friday shows. At Dallas Comedy Club, right? Is it Dallas Comedy Club? I should know that. Okay, let's be on top of our promo, please. Okay, 2 weeks off. Yeah, Dallas Comedy Club. I knew that. I was 100% confident in my information. Dallas Comedy Club this weekend, Friday and Saturday, if you're watching this right now. But if you're curious when coming out, go to BrianSimpsonComedy.com. That's where the tickets are for all my tours. For the rest of the year, I'm going to Dallas, and then I'm going to be at the Looney Bin next weekend, the 14th and 15th of November, in the Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then that's all for November. And then in December, 11th, 12th, and 13th, I'm at the Philly Punchline. I love going back to Philly. And then the 19th, 20th, and 21st, I'm at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, San Diego. You know, we bringing it back. Okay, and that's going to round out the year, and then right at the top of the new year, I'm gonna be at the Comedy Club in Kansas City. So you know that's how we get into this. Those are the next 6 dates. If you're in any of those places, go check out BrianSimpsonComedy.com, BrianSimpsonComedy.com. And don't forget to follow me on the socials, and also don't forget this show is yours. Okay, and you know your emails, keep it coming. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. You know. I love receiving emails from the listeners. Because I usually go emails and then goofy ass like obscure articles or whatever. But my favorite episodes are the ones that are just me answering all the emails because I feel loved. Okay, so this one is from, and don't forget if you don't want me to say your name on the email, just put a different name or don't put a name. Or if you say someone's name and you don't want me to say their name, just change the name. Don't. You know, because what happens a lot of times is I used to say, tell me that you don't want me to say their name. But what happens is I'll read the whole email and then at the end it'll go, don't say this name. You know, don't do that. It's just better to just change the name yourself. Or if you don't want me to say where you are, just be as general as possible. You know, if you don't want to say the specific city, say the state. If you want to say the state, say the region, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, whatever. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. All right, this is from LaShawn, my nibba. Okay, Nibba, all right. Based on your bag story, okay, I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about because I have them, a lot of them, but I'm going to assume you're talking about the most recent one where they lost my bag or they just put it on. Because this is actually weird. This has happened to me twice in a row, all at Atlanta, which is the worst. What's funny about the Atlanta airport is, and I'm going to get to this story because I'm guessing she's going to talk about the Atlanta airport. What's funny is that it is also arguably the most important airport in the country. In terms of, I think it handles the most traffic in the whole country, the most flights in the whole country. But it is being held together by a thread. Like, I don't understand how it can be such an economic hub for the city of Atlanta, and it's the most neglected. Like, I swear to God, still to this day, and actually I can't say that because the last 2 weeks I've had flights going through the Atlanta airport, and usually I won't do that. Usually, if there's a layover, I will take a longer layover than to take a quick one through Atlanta. And it's only because it's not Atlanta isn't the worst airport because I don't know how to explain it. But let me just put it like this: there are worse airports. There are airports that are worse about certain things. But Atlanta airport is bad about everything. So it's not the worst at anything, but it's like if anything can go wrong while you're traveling, if you have a layover in Atlanta, the chances of those things going wrong increase significantly. You know what I'm saying? Like literally every single thing that could happen bad flying, I've had happen to me in Atlanta. I'm gonna say probably a third of the times I've gone through Atlanta, something happens. Either somebody's rude to me, I mean, astonishingly rude. I don't mean just like I'm having a bad day, it's a bad day at work type of, because I let that shit go. I'm always like, oh man, they probably just having a bad day. That ain't about me, whatever. But I'm just talking about like some people, it's something about Atlanta, man, where sometimes they just go out of their way to be rude to you. It's kind of crazy. It's like I think they got some kind of running board in the back where they score points for, like they record themselves saying wild shit to customers and they get points. I don't know. But they'll lose your bag. They'll miss or they'll schedule the layover too tight and you can't make it. And then they say, because Atlanta is Delta runs Atlanta, and Delta will tell you, hey, well, we calculated that you had enough time. It's that kind of shit. Or and then mysterious shit. You'll board the plane and just be sitting on the runway for 3 hours because they only have one of those carts that are the stairs, right? And it's broken down and somebody's fixing it. It's that kind of shit. It's like everything. It always happens there. I don't know why. And so the last 2 weeks in a row, luckily for me, the first week it was happening on my way home. They just put my bag on the next flight. Like I had a layover in Atlanta. Maybe because I didn't even tell you about this. So this person, I didn't do a podcast last week. So this person is talking about something else I complained about in Atlanta before. So I had a layover in Atlanta. My bag, me and my bag both made it to Atlanta on the same flight. I got on the next plane. My bag did not get on the plane. And the thing is, the Delta app tells you where your bag is. So as soon as your bag get on the plane, you get a notification going, your bag is on this flight, right? And so whenever I'm in Atlanta, I'm just waiting for that notification because I know it might happen, it might not happen. And sure enough, I'm on the flight. I'm like, I did not get that. Where's my fucking bag at? And they just put it on the later flight, right? And so then you get to where you're going, and your choice is go to your hotel and hope they send it to you by the next day, maybe, or wait at the airport till the next flight comes in. That could be 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on where you flew from, right? And then it just happened to me this past weekend on my way to my best friend's wedding, where I'm the best man at, right? They just put my bag on the next flight. No delays. Keep in mind, like the flight didn't get delayed, right? My flight didn't arrive late. It was nothing like that. They just decided that it wasn't enough time to get the bag from one plane to the other, and they just, because that's the other thing, you can see the timeline, right? Where you could track your bag on the app, you could see the timeline, and you could see that literally 5 minutes after my first flight landed in Atlanta, they decided that bag was going on the next flight. So they ain't even try to get it to my flight. You know what I'm saying? It's insane. And they got a shortcut. They don't got to walk through that fucking airport and get on the train. And how did I make it to the flight and my bag didn't? I don't understand. And this is something, so that means either that's just Delta's policy to say, hey, listen, if it's within so much time, just put it on the next flight. Or they're literally scheduling flights that they know don't have time for the bags to make it. Like either it's physically impossible for the bag to get there on time, and they know that, and they don't give a fuck, and they're still selling you a ticket. Or there's somebody at the airport that's just like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck, because here's the other thing. Both of these happened during the government shutdown, right? And some people ain't getting paid. I know some TSA people ain't getting paid, even though they aren't really government employees. They're contractors. But I know some of them air traffic controllers ain't getting paid. I know, or people are getting half pay or some shit like that. And it was a whole lot I don't give a fuck at the Atlanta airport these past few weeks. It was a whole lot of people because let's be honest. Okay, most of the people that work at the Atlanta airport are black people, and black people have a much smaller bullshit cup, if I can explain it, because that's how I explain it to me. Mine is like, because to live in the professional world, you have to be able to tolerate a certain level of bullshit. You know what I mean? You got to hit, and mine is bigger than usual because I was in the Marine Corps, and that's like half of it. Is you got to be able to have some bullshit happen that's not fair, that don't make sense, that has no point, and you got to be able to move the fuck on. Because if you try to dwell on it, first of all, you don't have the power to do anything about it, right? So if you dwell on it, you're just going to be miserable. You're just going to make yourself miserable. And the same thing is true of corporate America. You have to be able to just deal with a certain level of bullshit. And here's the thing. Black folks historically have, in a corporate environment, have a much smaller tolerance for nonsense. And all you got to do to see how much it is tell a nigga he's not getting paid. And I'm telling you, because it's very few, at least, I ain't gonna speak for everybody, but it's very few black people that I know personally that if you tell them they're not getting paid, that they still showing up to work. And then the ones that do show up to work, you're not getting their best. What's up with the paycheck though? In fact, if you ever meet anybody that was in the Marine Corps with me, there's a story that some of them still tell probably about a time that I didn't get paid. Right? I pissed off a supply captain, and really I pissed off his gunny. And I can't prove this, but someone signed me up to donate 100% of my paycheck to the Vietnam Veterans Fund. And it was designed to go into effect the day we were leaving Iraq to come home. So, which was diabolical. I don't even know if this person was smart enough to plan it this way, if like that was their intention. But because we're all coming back with a bunch of money in our bank accounts because we weren't we don't have all the single people that got deployed. You don't have bills. You're getting hazard pay. You're getting extra pay. You're getting all your regular pay. You don't have bills to pay. So you're coming back with more money than you probably ever saved up in your life, right? And when you're that way and you're not really responsible with your money like I am, because you're used to living check to check, you're used to getting those. At least back then, it was like $300-400 paychecks, maybe $500, or whatever, because you get money taken off a GI Bill and that kind of stuff. But so you don't have to manage your money because you don't have enough money to be managing. Your money covers your bills, your little bit of fun, and maybe you could save $20, $40, whatever. So my point is, when you got thousands of dollars in the bank for the first time, it's hard for you to notice when you didn't get $400 or $500. So I didn't even notice for maybe a couple of checks. A couple of checks went by, and I went back and looked at my bank, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. This motherfucker, and I'm looking at the bank, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't get a paycheck last week, or the one before that. Wait, and here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that my gunny was in on it. Right? Because when I went to him about this money, because that's the one thing that you don't really have to go follow the whole chain of command about, because I mean you kind of do, but if not getting paid that's a big one. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not getting paid, that makes a higher up people look bad. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if I went straight to Gunny, but I know like even if I go to my sergeant and go, hey sergeant, I ain't get paid. What? Go tell Gunny. Like, it's gonna happen to me. Like you don't gotta be pussyfooting around, right? So I go straight to Gunny. I'm like, hey, Gunny, I didn't get paid this week or the last paycheck. He's like, what? For real? Hold on. And then the next paycheck came, still didn't get paid. I'm like, that's odd, because I don't think I'd ever heard of another Marine having a pay problem before. Or maybe if I had, I'm pretty sure, because that's one of those things where it's just not acceptable. You feel me? Because believe it or not, even though technically the people above you outrank you, right? They still have a responsibility to you. Like you're under their care. So that's why like if your Marine isn't getting paid, it's the same thing as them missing, right? It's like that reflect on you. Like where the fuck your Marine at? They gotta be around, they gotta be relatively healthy, and they gotta be getting paid. That is literally your responsibility, to make sure that your Marines are like alive and able to sustain and accounted for, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. It's one of those things where it reflects completely terribly on the people above you because it's completely out of your control. There's literally nothing you could do other than you being where you're supposed to be. There's really nothing you could do to make sure you get paid. It has to be handled above you. And so when I didn't get my next paycheck, I had a feeling that my gunny was in on it. And I'm the type of motherfucker, y'all don't, you know me, like I said, black people have a very low tolerance for nonsense. When I didn't get paid, see, I was the type of motherfucker where if you gave me the chance to be right and wrong at the same time, I was going to take it. You understand what I mean? Where it's like, because now I know that my gunny must have something to do with it because he didn't seem to be alarmed in the way that you would expect, right? So I just stopped coming to work. Yeah, and you want to stir up a fucking firestorm. Like I told you, getting paid and knowing where you at, that is the responsibility of everybody above you. And so obviously the next day at work, there's formation. They count everybody. Wait a minute, hold on, where's Simpson? Well, somebody go. So the first thing they're gonna do, they're gonna take your best friend or whoever they know you. They're gonna send his ass to go get you. Hey, go knock on Simpson's door and see. Go call somebody, because this was right before I believe everyone like expected you to have a cell phone. It was actually back then you weren't allowed to have a cell phone, right? So somebody had to go get you. Nobody was gonna call you, or they weren't gonna call your cell. They might call the barracks or whatever. But it was like, yo, go get Simpson. Come knock on my door. Yo, where you at? I was like, yeah, Simpson, what you doing? I'm like, yo, I'm not going to work. Why? I ain't getting paid. What? Go back, boom, come back, boom. They say they don't give a fuck. You need to come to work. I was like, nah, fuck that. I told Gunny I wasn't getting paid 2 weeks ago. He acting like he don't give a fuck. I ain't doing shit. And see, why did I do that? Because I know that there ain't nothing they can do about it. Because if they write me up, right? If they do any official paperwork or anything, they gonna have to answer for why their Marine hasn't gotten 3 paychecks in a row, and they haven't done no inquiries or nothing, right? So I was on to the little scheme, the little scam. Like somebody, this is a joke that someone's playing on me, and of course, eventually I'm gonna get paid, right? But they know I don't have a family or nothing like that, so it's not causing me any real kind of hardship that I can prove, but still, they don't. This is something they thought was gonna happen real quick. They was gonna have me suffer a little bit, and then eventually I was gonna get my check, and they thought I was just gonna suffer. But I just didn't come to work. I think I stayed home for like a week, maybe a week and a half, and then it started getting serious, because I started actually needing money, and so it was like I went and saw the. I did a cardinal sin actually, right? Is I didn't just jump the chain of command. I didn't like request mass or nothing like that. And if you're a civilian, requesting mass means you go straight to the top. Like you talk to the highest rank, like you talking to a general, which you don't do, right? So you skip everybody and talk to a general. And the thing is, if you request mass, you're gonna get your problem solved. But it's gonna follow you for your whole career. Like everywhere you go, it's like a black mark on your record. Even if you were right, even if you were absolutely 100% on the right, whether it was like blatant racism or abuse or even like worse things than that, you're still like it's like being a whistleblower basically, because they have to acknowledge it, and literally everybody's in trouble. Everybody from the general down, everybody under the general got to get called to the carpet. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's happy about it. And so, but I did something that is almost as bad. Is I went to another unit. I went to another unit's gunny and was like, yo, gunny, this is my problem. My gunny is saying he's working on it, it's being taken care of, blah, 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 blah. Is that true? And he told me, he was like, no. He was like, hold on, wait a minute, blah, blah, blah. And that's when he told me, yo, did you donate your check to the Vietnam Veterans Fund? I was like, no, what the fuck is that? He was like, yeah, so it looked like here on this date, which was the date we were flying back from Iraq, you decided. I was like, well, Gunny, how's that possible? How would I fill out paperwork while we on a plane back from Iraq? That don't make sense, right? And he's like, well, here's right here, and here's your signature right there. Now I could have requested mass and made a big like legal deal out of it, but I decided to milk it a little bit because he told me that there was a fund for this very thing. There's like I forget what they call it, Navy relief or something of that nature, that you can go sign up and you can get a little grant or a little loan. Usually it's a grant. But you get a little grant or something to get you by for whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I got a little Navy relief. I believe I tried to sign up for it. I don't know if I got it or didn't get it, but I ended up getting some money somehow. And I just milked that not going to work for as long as I could. And maybe it was a week, maybe it was 10 days, maybe a little longer than that. But I eventually got my paycheck and a legendary story that followed me around. Like, yo, that nigga just didn't come to work. What happened? Yo, the captain, because it went all the way up to my captain or our warrant officer that was like, yo, tell him to come to work. I was like, fuck him, fuck them. You know what I mean? I milked that shit. So I don't know how I got off on that. Oh yeah, black people have a low tolerance for that type of shit. You got to pay me, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't play about my money. Still to this day, every single argument, don't get me wrong, I argue with my team and my managers, my majors and lawyers. We argue all the time because everybody thinks they knows what's best, right? And so, but, I remember telling my manager the day we sat down and was like, we agreed, like, okay, you gonna represent me. I remember telling her, we only gonna have a real problem if you start trying to tell me what to say, or you start playing with my money. Right, and that go for you and anybody else that's connected to this whole operation, and she'll testify, nigga. The only big major problems I've ever had was creative, was people telling me my jokes, or fucking with my money. I don't play about the bread, bro. Because you only got so many times to play with my bread before I can't trust you. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that was a long rant. Let's get the Nibbles email. Based on your backstory, let me tell you something about ATL Airport, or ATL period. We pull up 3 hours before our flight to Las Vegas. I'm on a medication that needs refrigerated. Can't be out more than 12 hours. I leave it in a checked bag, but the lady at the front was supposed to fill out something and have me take it on my personal. Wifey warned me, but I already got 2 kids to get through. I don't want to get stopped for a damn needle. Got stuck in the clear line for 2.5 hours. They have Gen Pop line running right to that line and 1 TSA agent at the end checking passports and 1 security line. Hopped on train to our gate already mad. Train stops for shift change. After 10 minutes, we start running. Got a kid on my back and another running with asthma. Missed our damn flight by 4 minutes. I'm looking at the plane like my medication on that shit. Welcome to Atlanta, where nobody does their job, but it's somehow chaotically working out. That's the best way to explain the Atlanta airport. It's like it's like maybe 10 people in there doing their job. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's kind of doing their job, but they are willing to stop doing it. They're willing to be unprofessional at the drop of a hat. You ever been through a drive-thru and ask for hot French fries and ATL? Be prepared to get medium rare, half-frozen fries. Used to think this place was Wakanda, but it for sure is Niggerville. LaShawna. Hey, listen. Oh, no, this is LaShawn, not LaShawna. Oh, my bad, LaShawn. Yeah, man, I mean, Atlanta's a mixed bag. It is what it is, It's true. And the airport is no different. It's a mixed bag. But to be honest, no, but the thing is, no, it's not. Because the Atlanta airport I've never gotten great service at the Atlanta airport. You know what I'm saying? If you get decent service, that's the best it can be. If everything just happens the way it should, that's the best you can hope for at Atlanta. No one's going above and beyond. There's no hope for that. Nobody's going to go the extra mile or any shit like that. Now thank God, I've never had to fly directly out of Atlanta. I can't imagine that being my main airport. I mean, Jesus Christ. If there's any other airport in the area, it's kind of like L.A. Burbank. Like people that live in L.A. know the secret is fly to Burbank, right? People that live in New York, I'm pretty sure, LaGuardia or the other one, one of them is the one that everybody knows, hey, listen, you don't want no problems, go out of that one. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. I don't know if Atlanta has an alternative. Maybe that's what they need. They need another lure joint that's like 25 miles out of the way. I don't know. All right, moving on. Hey, Brian, first time, long time. I've seen last week you didn't have any questions, so I thought I'd like to see your thoughts on this. I'm still going to do whatever I want, though, okay? That's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes. So I've been dating this girl for about 2 years now. She's the first woman I've lived with, and she does her best to keep me on a short leash. All of my other relationships have ended due to infidelity, and she knows that. But I really love her, and my family loves her. I feel like she's going to be the one I settle down with. Okay, so you've been dating a girl for 2 years. She does her best. Okay, all right. I feel like she's the one I settle down with. All my other relationships have ended due to infidelity, and she knows that. Okay, but I really love her, and my family loves her. I feel like she's going to... Okay, here we go. I come from a family of married people. I'm a black man in his mid-30s, and I'm fairly successful. I own my own electrical contracting business, and I did pretty well. I did pretty well with the ladies. Before we got together, I was dating 3 other women and had to cut them all off when she moved in and made things official. So now she's been asking what my ideal relationship is, like would I want threesomes or an open relationship on my end, or throuple. Her preference would be if we did stuff when we are on trips, so she doesn't have to worry about me being with them back home. Wow, now see, hold on. Let me just say, I respect, boy, you better marry this lady because listen, I've encountered dudes like you in my life that they just get women. Some dudes are just like that. They just get women, flock to them. They just guarantee them. And a lot of dudes talk like that, but most of them dudes ain't that. That like where they get the women they want. You know what I mean? Some dudes will they'll take whatever so they can say they got a roster or whatever. But there's a handful of dudes that's really built like that where they just can juggle three girlfriends. That's crazy to me. But what ends up happening is they always be with women that think they can tame them. For whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? It's like watching a white lady walk up to a moose or a buffalo or something because they want to get a selfie. And you're like, hey, bitch, that's a dangerous animal. And she's like, no, look, he's so cute. Pow! And she gets fucking drop kicked. You know what I'm saying? It's that. It's like when I've had the pleasure of being close to these type of dudes, like my homie that just got married, he was one of those dudes where it's like women just gravitate towards them. You know what I'm saying? And some people, some women, they don't understand how to deal with. They'll try to like put a leash on you and put you in a cage. And it's like that's the opposite way to because what's so funny is all those dudes end up settling down. That's what's so crazy. So many times, all my friends that are like that, you think they'll never get married, and then before you know it, they're like, oh, dude, I found the one. They out there looking for the one. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't it, right? Or they out there looking for the two. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so many women make the mistake of thinking they can make you be something that you ain't, and they out there looking for the dog, and they bring home a dog, and then they act like they want him to be a cat. You know what I mean? And so for her to go, I know this nigga is gonna need other pussy. Like I know who this is. I can smell it on him. He's gonna need some extramarital pussy, right? And so she's trying to set it up like. She ain't trying to change you or tame you, but she's like, listen, what being married to me is going to be like is, I'm going to make sure your needs are met, right? And you going to respect me, And so these are the ways these are your choices. These are your options. I like that. That's a person that's being realistic. You know what I'm saying? Instead of throwing your some women will just throw themselves against the wall and keep hoping the door appears. You know what I mean? So here we go. Okay, third person we did stuff when we're on trips. Okay. I don't like that because I don't want to be worried about trying to track down some strange on our vacay. I feel like the time constraint would ruin the vibe. Essentially, I was like, if you want to know, my ideal relationship would be if I could do whatever I want and you mind your business. Whoa! She didn't like that and said she'd want me to be honest and then she can move accordingly. But I know if I'm like, I'm going out with this girl tonight, she's going to be distraught and crying. Then I'm going to feel bad when I get home, which is why I was like, if I got to tell you, I'd rather not do it. I really love this girl. Or maybe you just like the sneaky sneak. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm very, hold on, I'm sorry. I really love this girl. I feel like I'm very spoiled in most aspects of my life. I can have 3 cars, 2 motorcycles, 2 houses, but I have to be content with one woman. I feel like it's greedy, but I know I've been battling with addiction to hoes my entire life. I was just curious on your take on this. Keep it tight. Or I was curious on your take on this. Keep it tight, Beaver Puss. Well, that is my take. I mean, listen, brother. I understand, and like I said, I've been friends with dudes like you, and the thing is, you grow out of it. You know, or you find the one that make you not want to run out nowhere, or you really got some kind of pussy addiction and you need to go seek help for that. But you have stumbled on a woman that's like she's letting you fuck other people. Because to go from I'd rather do it on vacations to no, I'd rather just do what the fuck I want. I mean, that's not a good negotiation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, listen. Try to meet her in the middle, man. You know what I mean? Maybe here we go. Maybe you could cultivate a relationship with some hoes that's out of state or something. So that way, it's somebody like you already know who you hooking up with when y'all land. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. Or or maybe you can talk one of your old hoes into the equation or something. But you got to find a middle ground because here's the thing, man. What you're really missing, right? And this is what all of these dudes that have had in common is like, what you're really missing is that you've probably come across so many women that really, really love you, but you don't know how to receive love, right? And I'm not a therapist or nothing, so I can't tell you why. But what happens is eventually, dudes like, dude, you will run into a woman that cracked through that shit. And they know how to get the love through all your defenses and fucking hit you right in the motherfucking heart. You know what I'm saying? And so, but you have to put in effort. I don't think it happens automatically. You know, I think at some point you get sick of the emptiness of it, right? Because you like the hunt, you like the challenge of like hunting down new pussy, and you like the challenge of making women fall in love with you, but now you got one that really, really sees you to the point where she's willing to have a non-traditional relationship just so she can keep you. You can't just throw her away like I'm gonna do what the fuck I want. I mean, at least try, nigga. Read a book, talk to a therapist, something. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, nah, I think I'm gonna keep doing what I want, because you're gonna regret that in the long run, you know? And you might not get another chance. You know, who knows, man? You're gonna come up with some strange pussy one time that's gonna put some motherfucking bumps on your back. You know what I'm saying? Or gonna fuck up your finances or whatever, you know? So you at least gotta meet her halfway, or at least you have at least gotta try. You know, because this is a woman saying, you can be honest with me, and you're like, I'd rather not. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's fair to her, and it's not fair to you either. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess what I'm trying to say is I think you need to get to the bottom of what the real reason is why you literally don't want exactly what you want. You know, exactly what you said. Because I bet you if I talked to you 5 years ago, you'd have been like, man, if I just had a bitch that I could just be honest with. You know what I mean? And then you got one and you're like, well, if I got to tell you, it ain't the same. I get it. Because some people have that kind of, I don't know what you call it, but it's like a wrongness fetish. Where it's like the fact that I'm not supposed to be is part of it, is part of what makes it hot, right? But yeah, I say at least give it a shot, at least communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like, because somewhere in there is something that will work if you're willing to put in the work. That's all I mean. That's my advice. Okay. Yo, what up, Brian? I'm going to cut to the chase. Thank you. Am I wrong for not letting my baby mama see or talk to my son? Yes. Unless she's a danger to the kid, but let's get to it. Now, for some context, my boy hasn't seen his mom since, by my boy, I'm guessing you mean your son, hasn't seen his mom since April 2025 due to her being homeless and putting him in dangerous situations. Okay, wait a minute, since April. Okay, so that's this year, okay. I confronted her about it and made it clear that he wouldn't be staying with her until we had a custody agreement. Since then, she has made no attempt to talk to, visit, or even ask about his well-being until October, his birth month. Not because she couldn't reach out, but because she just chose not to. This isn't the first time she's done this, so I decided to set a boundary and told her, no, you can't come in and out of his life as you please. We'll let the court decide. My son doesn't even ask to speak to or see her anymore as well, so yeah. Am I wrong for saying no? Yeah, fuck her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you want to pop in and out, nah, you don't do that. You know, you're right. Okay, so this is what I mean. You're saying she's homeless, she's putting him in dangerous situations, she popping in and out. Nah, fuck that. You don't get to do that. You know, at least speak to regularly. You know what I mean? Like if she ain't even calling sometimes, that's crazy. Yeah, because that stability and consistency are what children need the most. If a child doesn't have stability, all the rest of the shit don't really matter. You know? Because everything in their life is inconsistent, and then they'll fucking turn out to be like me. You know what I mean? And be like 43 years old, but emotionally like 15. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, you're doing exactly the right thing. Because I mean, the way you phrase it is even wrong. Like, it's not like you're not letting her see him. It's like she's not letting herself see him. You don't get to be, you don't get to be you don't get to be a mom. Like, motherhood isn't like veganism where you're like, well, I eat vegetables on Thursdays. No, bitch, you're a mom all the time. You got to tap in with your motherfucking child. Like, the whole point of being a parent is so that you have as much influence as possible over who that person becomes, their habits, their self-esteem, their explanations on like making the world make sense to them, and their safety and all of that. Like, you can't do that sometimes. You can't do that inconsistently, and you know, it would be different if you weren't able, you know, but you just choosing not to be and then popping up every 3 weeks, and fuck that. Fuck you. You know, you don't get to do that. You know, and it sucks. It's a shame, but this ain't on you, man. This is on her. When she ready to actually be a mom and pop in, then what I will say is don't talk negative about his mom to him. You know, it might feel like the truth and it might feel right, but it's not. Okay? And maybe we can have some like expert child psychologist on or something to explain why that is. I wish I had I should start doing it like that, like having, because I know I can tap into a couple of people. I could probably call Dr. Drew, honestly. But yeah, you don't owe her that shit. Fuck her. I love this. Keep sending these fucking emails, okay? Especially also if you're an expert. If this is your field or whatever, and you hear me say some, because I'm just going off the dome from my limited knowledge of some of these subjects. That's why this podcast was almost called Ultra Crepidarian. But that would have been a bad name. But I do want, I know there's some experts that fucking listen to this podcast. If you have some sort of expertise, and by expertise, I mean a degree or like a decade of experience, you know, tap in. Okay, from this next one's from Demetria. Oh, in Dallas. I'm going to be in your city. Okay. Brian, glad your podcast is back. Looking forward to your show in Dallas. Hell yeah. Like you, I'm from the DMV. That's DC, Maryland, Virginia, the best area. Grew up near Quantico. Dad and stepfather served in the Marine Corps. Oh, wow. So you got a lot in common with me. Has anyone in your family been impacted financially by the government shutdown? Thanks. Yes, I have family members. I don't want to put people's business in the street, but yes, I've had family members very close to me. All my family, everyone in my family has been impacted by the government shutdown. I mean, not every single person, but a good portion. Either they have government jobs or they're government contractors or they receive an assistance. It's a good portion of America receiving assistance. And this is what pisses me off, right, and I've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's this divisiveness shit, man, that so many people think that there's a way to hurt them. And that's, to me, that's the only positive thing that's coming out of this shutdown, is that it is slowly eroding that veil that there is a them. Well, there is a them, but it ain't other poor people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think, because they've been doing this for a while since Reagan with they call it the Southern strategy, where they appeal to the fears of whites, right? And they go, them over there are taking advantage. There's fraud, waste, and abuse. And the reason they say that, right? The reason they always tell you there's fraud and waste and abuse, even though there is no, there is fraud, but it's very, very, very low. And that's why they're not prosecuting nobody. They keep telling you they finding all this fraud and they're not charging nobody with fraud, right? But the reason they use those words is because, let me preface this by saying this. The vast majority of people on government assistance are white people. Both numbers-wise and percentage-wise, right? They're poor white people. But when you go all the way back to like post-slavery, to the Jim Crow era and what do they call it, Reformation or whatever it was called, the whole point of the racism, like I'm talking about government racism, is so that the rich can give poor white people somebody to look down on, so you are cool with them fucking you. Right, and now this is just a modern version of that, because they go, there's fraud, you see, like they did the same thing with immigration, right? They went, no, we just getting rid of the illegals, and now you see they out here just fucking with everybody, right? But when they told you they was just going after criminals, you were fine with them having, military in the streets. The same thing. They tell you, oh, no, we just going after fraud and waste and these welfare queens that are living high on the hog. And so you think it don't mean you. Now the whole motherfucking shit shut down. And it's you. It's you that's hungry, right? SNAP and all these programs, WIC and all these, those aren't just poor minorities. There's poor white people suffering. The farmers are suffering because, again, those things are farming subsidies. The government is buying food from farmers and giving them to poor families. That's WIC or SNAP or whatever the fuck. The food stamps, right? That's also affecting who? Grocery stores. On the 1st and the 15th of the month, grocery stores know they gonna get, like, all their income is all dropping. And then who's that affecting? Other people with jobs, the cashiers, the blah, 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 who are also on food stamps because they don't get paid enough money. So it's affecting. Here's the other thing: the vast majority of people on government assistance have jobs, have full-time jobs that don't pay them enough money to live on, because again, productivity in America has gone up dozens of percent in the last 40 years. And the average wage has gone up like 6%. I don't know if those are exact numbers, but it's that big of a disparity, right? And so people can't afford to live even though they're working full time. And so most people that are on government assistance are working. There are very few lazy freeloaders that are scamming the system and selling their food stamps. Not that those people aren't out there, but even those people, they aren't living some great existence, right? They're what you would call hood rich, right? Food stamps ain't, the type of people that are living off government assistance to that degree, they aren't, how do I put it? they've peaked in life. Like they aren't going past, like living in the projects on government assistance is not a glamorous life. That's what I'm trying to say. The sort of people that are doing that are trying to scam the food stamp system, they're just maintaining that life, and it's not great. You know what I'm saying? They figured out a way to make it good for them, but it's not. You wouldn't want to trade places with them. Like, oh, it must be nice. No, it's not. It's not nice. You know? I mean, just go, and if you think it is, go to the projects. Just go over there. I'm sure you have one in your town or somewhere. Go to the projects and just drive through and see if you would like to do all the scheming and scamming to stay there. You know, oh, my rent's $120. Must be nice. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. I gladly pay the rent I pay before I go back living in the projects. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've had people say it to me when people found out I was living in a homeless shelter in L.A. And people found out I didn't pay rent for a year and a half. People, oh, must be nice. No, nigga, no, it wasn't. There was nobody in there that wanted to stay, that wanted to be in there. You know? Now here it is. There were people in there that were scheming and scamming so they could stay there because they didn't think they could live. Like I knew people that, I don't know how they did this because you only get so many times. I think you get twice that you can do that particular program to be in the homeless shelter. But some people figured out a way to do it more than twice. If they would live there for 6 months and save up their money and then move into an RV for 6 months and then save up their money and then park the RV and then live in the shelter for 6 months. But again, okay, were they scamming? Probably. Did I tell on them? No. Who gives a fuck? I wouldn't want to live like that. They have consigned themselves to that existence. And it's a miserable one it would be a miserable one for most people, you know, but I really don't give a fuck because I knew I was getting the fuck up out of there, you know? And so I think, you know, if you're like, I so don't want people to take advantage of it that I'm willing to let everybody else starve. That's a weird take to me. Or this idea that you think there's a them that's starving and it don't include you. That's the thing you gotta let go of. Yeah, and they're willing to do it. There's you know the politics. You know, and this is the danger in everything becoming political. This is why I can't really fuck with Trump for real. This is the main. I mean, there's a myriad of reasons, but the biggest one is he has. You know, even the most terrible politicians in the past still all agreed and understood that there are certain government agencies that have to be apolitical, right? That can't be partisan because they're too essential to fall victim to the politics of it all. And Trump has kind of just thrown that the fuck out the window. Everyone he puts in place is people that are in under his thrall, and they have to be MAGA Republicans, or you know, it's like that's so dangerous. You're purging the government of expertise. He doesn't have any real economists around him. He doesn't have any real experts around him for real. It's just loyalists, and I don't think they really understand what's happening. Like and it's funny. I'm recording this on. Well, y'all will see this. I'm recording this on November 3rd. Y'all will see this on November 4th. But the effect is astounding. Now, I know he came out yesterday and said that he would use the emergency funds, which have already been set aside for this very reason. But I don't know if that's happening or how. But I know that they can talk all the shit they want to talk. But if people start starving, the crime is going to go through the roof. It's like, and I think what Trump cares about more than anything is his legacy. Like, he know he ain't got that much longer to live. It's weird to build a ballroom for $300 million when you 70-something. But I think he wants that to be his legacy. He's very, very concerned about his legacy. He wants to go down as the greatest. Now, that's impossible, right? But who knows? Because historically, you know, no, I don't think any president was seen as the greatest while they were president or even shortly after. You know, people didn't realize how awesome Jimmy Carter was until way later. You know, that kind of thing. People didn't realize how terrible Ronald Reagan was until way after. People sort of kind of appreciate George Bush now, but that may just be in comparison to Trump. But he doesn't want to be known as the president that presided over whatever the fuck is going to happen if people don't get food stamps this month. You know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. Because when people ain't gonna starve, people gonna do what they got to do, if enough Americans click into survival mode, because see, that brings you to your worst self. Lonely and might die brings out the animal in people. Those two circumstances make people on their worst behavior. So, like desperate is bad. When you don't want to make the majority of Americans desperate, because again, it's not just affecting the people that need government assistance. You know what I'm saying? It's also affecting the people that depend on those people spending their money. So all of those liquor stores and quickie marts, all of those check cashing places and motherfucking grocery stores sprinkled out throughout the hood, the fast food joint, all of that, the hood economy, all of that is dependent. And then their suppliers, and then this is why the safety net is necessary. And some of you see people on this safety net as freeloaders. That's what's so funny. And a lot of that philosophy comes from that Ayn Rand bitch, right? Ayn Rand, she wrote that book Atlas Shrugged, right? And her whole philosophy was about how people shouldn't depend on the government and blah, 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 blah. And she died penniless on government assistance. You know what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of these people are. As soon as they need something, they think the government should assist, right? Remember Too Big to Fail? Remember those banks were going to go out of business when they gambled everybody's money? Who helped them? The government. That was government money. Right? And so I just to me it's like those people that think that like, oh, it's, you know, I don't want people freeloading off the government. Why do you only mean that when it's poor people or minorities? But as soon as a billionaire need a fucking handout, you don't have a problem with them mooching off the government. Because you have this attitude that like, oh, they don't need it. Nigga, they way past what they need. They don't give a fuck about need. They want it. Even if they got it, they'll still go to the government and get it. You know what I'm saying? The richest man in the world will take a fucking money from the government. Every fucking time. They'll spend your money before they spend their money. They'll risk your money before they risk their money. You know? But you have no problem with it. You have no problem, you know. It pisses me off. You weren't really asking me how I felt about it, but I think it's fucking dumb. Okay, next one. Brian, howdy. I discovered your podcast after watching your Netflix special. On that first episode, I listened to you cover topics ranging from Bloodborne to Slavoj Žižek, a rare combo, which immediately made me a fan. On a recent episode, you shared that you don't have guests on your show because you don't want to deal with the hassle of preparing for an interview or accommodating folks' schedule changing or not arriving on time. I get it. Proposal. I'd like to be a guest on your show since I have no notoriety whatsoever. There's no need to prepare for it, and I am prior military, so I shall arrive on time. If you aren't early, you're late. We are of similar age, and I think we have several things in common which could make for an interesting conversation. Prior military, combat tour, video games, similar upbringing in many respects. We seem to overlap politically. I don't really do social media, but I'll share my LinkedIn in case you care to see my professional background. I'm a big reader. You can find me here. Oh, Goodreads. Okay. Who knows? This might be fun. What do you say? Sure. I'm going to forward that to you. We'll get in contact with that guy. We'll see. This feels like it might be a bad idea. But it feels like it could be a good idea. And those are the best ideas. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. What up, Brian? Longtime fan. Hoping you can help me out with a first world problem. Okay. I'm 48 and work in tech for a major company. I've never made more money, but also never given fewer fucks about my job. I've been smart with my dough and carry no debt, so losing this job to either AI or apathy won't be the end of the world. That said, I have no idea what I would actually want to do. I've always been one to try on hobbies and cycle through them pretty quickly, so not many interests last. The only constants have been video games and podcasts, and the last thing the world needs is another middle-aged dude trying to make it in either of those spaces. How do I find something that can cover my expenses that I actually want to do? Appreciate you in the pod, Howard. Man, that's a tough question to answer, because what you're really asking me is like, who am I? Which is like, I don't know. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with you having a podcast, you know, talking about your interest. I mean, that's what I'm doing. And the thing is, the world doesn't, because, you know, that to me, like, that's the lazy criticism of the current landscape of like, oh, everyone has a podcast. Well, so what? Everyone has an Instagram. Everyone has a TikTok. Not everybody's good at it. You know, it's like the people that complain about the oversaturation are the people that don't know how to turn stuff off. They're addicted to shit that upsets them. That's why that's all they see. You know, it's like, this is my advice to everybody. If you see something you don't like on social media, just scroll by it. Say not interested. Stop clicking on stuff. You know, you falling for the clickbait because they know you'll click on some shit you hate. I ignore most of the stuff I hate. You know, but yeah, if that's what you want to do, man, stream, pod, something, you know, because that, to me, that's the American dream. Well, the American daydream is to make money doing something you love to do, right? The American dream is to make money off other people doing stuff. You know, I mean, that's what the system is set up for. That, like, level 100 of the system is you're making money because other people are working. You know what I mean? It's like that. When you know, it's like, I just saw an article about Mark Zuckerberg's newest yacht, right? And it actually wasn't about his yacht, because it was about the second yacht that follows around that yacht. I'm sorry. It was about the third yacht. So when Mark Zuckerberg's yacht, when he's on his yacht and they go somewhere, another yacht follows his yacht. It's like a service yacht. And he just added an additional yacht to that fleet. So now there's 3 yachts. Whenever Mark Zuckerberg take off, he has his main yacht, and then there's 2 yachts behind it where, you know, the slaves sleep or whatever. And that's where all his fuck. Whenever you see Zuck on a jet ski or some shit like that, it's because his second yacht carries the jet skis and the helicopters and the basketball court and all those other things. And now he has an additional yacht that has more stuff, right? And when they talk about, you know, how much he makes per minute, well, he's not actually doing anything. You know, he's deciding, probably here and there, but he's not doing any work. Other people are working, making money per minute, and he gets most of that. Like, other people are generating a certain amount of money, and he gets most of that, right? But when we talk about the billionaires of the world, we talk about it in the sense that they're making this kind of money, but they're not generating that money, not themselves. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I digress. My point is, you know, the American dream is, yeah, do what you want to do. You're trying to get to that thing, and I would just say, yeah, if those are the things that you do for free, pick one of them and find a way to make money from it. You know, I mean, that's why I do comedy, and I've been bullshitting on streaming, partly because I'm kind of lazy, but also I'm scared that my hobby is going to become a job. You know, like, I would love to make money from gaming, but I also would hate having to game today. Like, you know what I'm saying? That idea of that, because I make enough money from comedy to make a living. You know, and streaming feels like a natural thing to me. I think I would probably rather stream than do this podcast, you know, but then gaming will become this thing, you know, that comedy is slowly becoming like a job, where it's like, I have to go do these things. You know, it used to, and I was just somewhere, and I told some newer comics or whatever that, like, you know, these times, the times you at now are the best times. It is true. Like, ask any what you would consider successful comic and tell them to tell you their fucking funnest time, their best story from comedy, and 9 times out of 10, that story is going to be before they made money. It's going to be back when they was broke, when they was struggling, when they was coming up. You know what I mean? Like, because and again, I'm not complaining about making a living from my comedy. Like, that's the dream. But it is a job now. Whereas back then it was just the jokes. And that's all that mattered. And that was the only thing I was measured by. Was the jokes. Not the followers, not the ticket sales, not the Q score. Just the jokes. Not my marketability, none of that. It was just, is he grinding? Is he making up new shit? Oh, that's dope shit. I wish I had thought of that shit. It was this, that's it. That's all it was. And there was something free about that. It was almost like, you hear some people talk about deployments like that, right? Like, I hated being overseas. It was fucking hot and sweaty, and I couldn't wait to fucking go back home. But then you come back home, and then you appreciate, like, oh, there was a simplicity to my life over there. Even though, like, overall on paper it was a shitty time, but there was something simple about it. I didn't have bills, I didn't have a wife now, I didn't have any responsibilities. I was told exactly where to be, exactly what to wear, which was the same thing every fucking day, and I did the same job every fucking day, and everything was just, that's all it was. My life was just very simple: food there, sleep there, shit there, shower there, be there for work. And you simply can't. And somebody else did the laundry. You dropped your laundry off in a bag. Somebody washed it, folded it, right? All you had to do was be a troop. That's it. And then you come back home and you got to do all those things, and traffic and bills and maintenance and children and all of the real world come crashing back in on you. And it's kind of like that now, where it's like, before it was just jokes, and my life was simple, and I was struggling, but it was like, hey, work, comedy, jokes, work, comedy, jokes. And then I started making just enough money where I could just tell jokes for money. And maybe that was the sweet spot. And now it's like, you're an entity, and other people depend on you to go do these shows and make these jokes, and you got to constantly be marketing and market, selling, market. And every comic hates that. At least, not every comic, but most comics, I think, hate the incessant marketing that we have to do. Go look. Most of the motherfuckers are never happy in those ads, but when they're like, hey, I'm gonna be in your city this weekend. Like, I fucking hate it. Everyone does. You know why? It's because you know that you've become, at least a little, you've become the person that you're supposed to be making fun of. And so I don't know why I kept ranting about myself, but it's like, I don't know if you could look it about this, but there's a famous speech of Jerry Seinfeld. He's receiving an award, and I forget what it was, but it's one of the best award reception speeches I've ever heard, because he spends most of the speech talking about how awards are bullshit, and how he'd rather be in the back making fun of everyone, because that's where he's supposed to be. But the idea of an award is so stupid, right? Not that he's not happy to be receiving it, because being rewarded is awesome, but also this is dumb, and I'm supposed to be. And that's the same way I think a lot of comics feel about promoting. It's like, this is dumb, but I have to do it, right? And selling our shows is fucking great, right? And that's why we're doing the promo. But also, I'm not supposed to be selling people stuff. I'm supposed to be making fun of salesmen. Like, come on now, you're gonna save 50% off. I'm supposed to be making fun of those people, right? But now I'm one of those people because I kind of have to be. And so it's that. It's like, my point is, you should be trying to do the thing you love, but also be aware of the fact that once you depend on the thing you love for survival, it's a struggle to love it to enjoy it as much. Not that you can't enjoy it, but you are by definition injecting things that you don't enjoy around, attaching them to it. Like the Atlanta airport, right? It's like, I hate flying. Like, I'm envious of these niggas that's just starting comedy now, because by the time I drop dead of a heart attack, they probably gonna invent teleportation, and these comics will be able to just teleport from city to city. Because that's really the only part about my job that I hate is flying, especially through Atlanta. But even then, the way our fucked up the country is, the airline will probably lobby, and you'll probably still have to have a layover in Atlanta, even when you're teleporting. You got to teleport to Atlanta first. You know what I'm saying? And they lose some of your fucking molecules or something. Anyway, that feels like a good stopping point. Listen, if I didn't get to your email, I'll definitely start off the next episode with it. And I see a couple of here, Stephen and Fred. Yeah, but I'm gonna get to you. But we reached a stopping point, right? We almost an hour. Over an hour. Yeah. See, we ain't trying to do that. But we have been going for a couple of weeks, so I'm not whatever. But I love you guys. I appreciate the emails. Please keep them coming. Please keep them flowing. My favorite thing is for every episode to be just emails. Oh, I love answering these questions. And then and listen, and maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll find out if this Marine guy that shares all my interests is a psychopath. All right, and I'll let y'all know. And see y'all in Dallas and all those other places. Keep it tight, Beaver Puss.